G'day guys, welcome back to episode 15 of the PC Setup Showdown, a series where you submit your setup or your PC to get featured on the channel to potentially win a prize. Each week we do choose 3 submissions, which we group into similar categories to be featured so you guys have an even chance of winning. Last week's episode was Musard with his Hulk PC, an extremely well-built, heavily modified computer. This week we do have 3 submissions, and this will be going in the white AIO cooled category. So each PC will be primarily white in color. They will all be AIO cooled systems. Now guys, if you would like to submit your system, the link will be down in the description below. It is a video link. All you have to do is watch that. It'll tell you what you have to do to enter, and you have a good chance of winning. I will leave all of the specs in the description below as well. And remember to leave your votes in the comments section below as well. So let's get into episode 15 of the PC Setup Showdown. Our first submission is from Nicholas, and he calls this project Cryptex Workstation. His PC specs include the Asus X299 Apex motherboard paired with an i9-7900X CPU. The CPU is particularly good for multi-threaded workloads due to its 10 cores and 20 threads. It is still good for gaming, however it's just not as good as something like an 8700K due to its frequency being a tad lower. He has 4 sticks of gskill Trident Z RGB RAM for a total of 32GB running at 3200 MHz. His GPU is the EVGA GTX 1080 Ti, which is perfect for gaming on the latest titles. It's basically an RTX 2080 without the ray tracing. For his boot drive, he has a Samsung 960 Pro M.2 SSD paired with a Samsung 120GB SSD and a 2TB Seagate firecuda hard drive. Powering the whole system is the Corsair AX860i power supply. Nicholas says that this PC was built to run trading related programs and for gaming, so I love his choice of specs. It reminds me of my personal PC where the CPU was my first hardware choice due to the heavy workloads that I use on a day-to-day basis. The PC looks fantastic and very clean. Cables are well routed so that all cables are hidden. This looks like such a premium case, and with the all-white accents, a pair of white sleeve extension cables would go a very long way in this build. White is a color that screams premium and clean. I am glad that you added the white LED strip into your build. It highlights the hardware well, which allows you to have fans and components set to RGB without it being too overdone. In terms of aesthetics, your motherboard and GPU don't offer anything white to the build, so by adding that white GPU backplate, you have brightened up the whole motherboard area, which is a smart decision. Excellent work, and great work hiding the LED strip. Some minor things that I would fix up is by removing the hat and the book from the top of the PC, and your cables from the back of the PC and from the monitors could be grouped together so it cleans up any visible cables. I can see that your PC is also hiding a lot of cables and a power pack behind it. It is a good use of space. On to the setup. For the monitors, he is using 2 LG 34-inch panels, and I quite like how you have positioned these and tilted the top one easily for viewing. His keyboard is the Corsair K70 rapidfire keyboard paired with the Razer lancehead mouse. I really appreciate your utilization of space. It is not a huge area to work with. Under the desk is very clean, apart from the far left cables, which could use some zip ties or a cable raceway. Gaming must get a tad annoying depending on what you play, because your mouse pad is sideways, so you've lost a lot of space. So you would either be playing at a higher DPI, or you would have to actually lift your mouse to turn. Anyway, amazing setup, Nicholas. Thank you very much for entering. Our second submission is from LJ, and he calls this project Black and White with Rainbow. For the specs, he's using the ASRock Z270 Extreme 4 motherboard paired with an Intel i7-6700, which is a quad-core CPU perfect for gaming. He has 64GB of gskill RAM running at 2133 MHz with an RGB heatsink. Powering the pixels is an EVGA GTX 1050 Ti, which is a great budget GPU for high 1080p gaming. His boot drive is a 500GB SSD paired with a second for extra storage and a 2TB hard drive. Powering the system is a Supernova G3 750 watt power supply. This PC is extremely clean, much like our first submission, not a cable out of place. Again, the NZXT S340 Elite in white looks very premium, and white makes everything look super clean and highlights the main components. You have hidden your LED strip well, and the RGB fans look nice in your system. Personally, if I did own your system, I would keep them on white. That RAM heap spreader looks amazing, especially next to the white sleeve 24 pin, which I suggested Nick back in the first submission should invest in. You have the perfect balance of black and white in this system, and I love the custom acrylic work to add in some personal touches to the GPU, SSDs and power supply shroud. Really cleans it up and adds more white into the system, which I love, but definitely change those fans to white. Onto one standout flaw in this system, which I'm sure people have already picked up on. PCI slots run at certain speeds, and with the top slot usually being the fastest. By putting your GPU down there, you are getting less performance out of it. I must say I actually love its placement aesthetically because it does hide motherboard cables and the SSD cables and shows the backplate a lot more, but you are losing out on performance, and moving the GPU up will allow it to breathe more as well. For the setup, nothing was mentioned apart from the monitor, which is an Asus 27-inch IPS 1080p panel. One thing that has been bugging me about your setup since the start is similar to our first submission, but much more worse here because you have the space to fix it. Your mouse has no room to move at all. Now, I don't believe you would actually game like this. I think you've just tried to neaten everything up for your submission, which I can appreciate. Personally, I think you need to move your monitor over, recenter your keyboard with the monitor, and then tilt your PC 45 degrees. You would have created a lot more space for yourself, created more room for your mouse to play at a lower DPI, which makes tracking so much easier, and the cables from the back of your PC and your monitor are still hidden well. And best of all, you can view your PC from the front to admire your amazing work. The setup as a whole looks really clean. Perhaps tape the monitor power brick to the back of the monitor or under the desk. Thank you very much, LJ, for entering. Our final submission is from Dylan, and his project is called Afterglow. For the specs, he's using an Asus M5A AM3 Plus based motherboard paired with an AMD FX 6300 CPU. This is more of a budget-based gaming PC. He has 2 sticks of Kingston HyperX RAM for a total of 8GB. The GPU is an Asus GTX 1060, which is a great budget GPU for 1080p and 1440p gaming. For the storage, we have a 240GB SSD as the boot drive and a 1TB hard drive for games. Powering the whole system is a Corsair AX 860W power supply. Dylan's system is also themed primarily white and is extremely clean. One thing that does stand out to me is that all of his fans are similar apart from the rear fan. The rear fan is also in eye view, so consider swapping that out if you have the budget for more consistency and light on the left side of the case. I like the purple ambient glow from the LED strip, which again is well hidden, and I love that your cables are sleeved white. Your cable management is fantastic, and I cannot see a single cable out of place. I love the placement of the GPU in vertical to show it as a showpiece. However, I know this case doesn't have real good airflow due to its closed in front and only having 2 exhaust spots. How does your GPU's temperature actually perform being so close to that front glass panel? Onto the setup. At first glance, this setup is very clean but also very underwhelming in a way. There's no personality to it. I did read your submission again, and I'm glad that you will be adding in some desk lighting and some monitor lighting that will bring your setup to life. For the monitor, he is using a 34-inch ultra-wide from LG, a Rode NT USB mic, a Logitech G613 keyboard, and a Corsair mouse. Dylan does say that he didn't want to drill any holes in his desk for his mouse or keyboard, and personally I do not like drilling in holes to a perfectly good desk either. The red Audio-Technica M50X headset doesn't match your theme. Black or white would have been a better choice. Your cable management is the best out of the 3 submissions today, so great work there. Here is a couple of minor things that I would certainly love for you to fix up with your setup. Firstly, tilt your PC 45 degrees. It will cover some of that blank canvas space on the wall and fill out your desk a tad more. Secondly, hang the headset under your desk because its color scheme does not match the rest of your setup. Thirdly, I would add in your LED backlighting to the desk and the monitor. It will bring your setup to the next level. I think if you fix up all of these minor things, then your setup will really be a standout. Apart from that, you have an amazingly clean setup. Thank you very much for entering.
Guys, I hope you all enjoyed episode 15 of the PC Setup Showdown. Remember to get your votes down in the comments below. If you would like to enter, submit your PC through the video link in the description. All specs are also down below as well, so feel free to check them out too. And guys, if you did enjoy this video, leave a like, consider subscribing, checking out more videos on the channel. Lots of custom PCs, reviews, modding tutorials, and much more. And we need your submissions, so get them in as soon as you can, guys. And we'll see you all next week for another PC Setup Showdown.